I get the feeling I'm going to be cut off frequently. I don't know why that's happening, but my computer is not being very friendly, so this might be a series of videos. Anyway, I'm talking about the lead. You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And the same goes for your writing. You might have gotten a great interview. You've somebody who never talks to the media, and you finally got through. And you've got these awesome quotes because you're great at asking questions. And you write this poignant piece, the ending will make a grown man cry, but your lead is terrible. Guess what? People will never get to the rest of your story. They'll never read the interview responses. They'll never get to the ending. No one will read it. We live in a swipe left and swipe right world, and our attention spans are puny. And so, if the lead doesn't work, then readers move on, and they will move on quickly. So, the lead is everything. We're going to talk a lot about leads and look at a lot of leads throughout the semester. Number two is something you already know. Avoid the phrases I think, I feel, in my opinion, and then there are a bunch of others. Personally, to me, all of those are bad. And they're bad because they're a crutch, much like using so when you start your sentences, or like in the middle of your sentences. They're crutches to, and in many cases, those I think, I feel phrases soften your opinion. So I promise you, you will never hear professional opinion commentators use those phrases. You'll never see professional writers who are giving their opinion use those phrases. Well, not never, but almost never. If they do, it's a mistake. So eliminate them, and you'll see your opinions get a lot stronger immediately. Okay, the third one is on this list is to be a better writer, read. That's from the syllabus, but do more than read just to memorize. Remember, that's the lowest level of thinking. I want you to analyze when you read. So when you read, how is the information being presented to you? Who's presenting the information to you? What's the goal of that person or news organization? Um, and the first thing you should do is to, as you read something, is to start with the lead. Notice the lead. Don't just read it and say, "Oh, he might quiz me over what the lead is in terms of content." Nope. I'm going to ask you why. Why did they start that way? So notice the Working Poor article with Joseph Pereira. The author didn't start with more than 10 million Americans are considered the working poor. That definition means that they make no more than 14. I mean, who's reading that? Are you? I won't. I'll stop after sentence three. I'm done. Statistics, general leads, boring. But if you start with Joseph Barrera and the grease trap exploding, and then I'm in. That's a narrative beginning. It's telling the story of somebody. You got me. And that's the goal of the lead. So notice leads every time you read something in this class, and of course, outside class, any news organizations or anything, TV shows, movies, music. How do they start? Why do they start that way? What's the goal when they do that? So when you read Madison Holleran's story, notice and analyze the lead. How does it start? Why does it start that way? But again, this is a continuing conversation as we go through the semester about leads. We're going to keep adding to that list as we go through the semester. That's good enough for me for right now. So you should have those three things on notebook paper. And remember, you're allowed to use that on any quizzes. All right, so let's look at the supplemental document that I've provided for you. The rest of this video is going to examine chapters 1 through 3. I've consolidated, it's important, I've consolidated 3 classes worth of lectures. So what I've done is I went through 3 classes where I talked about all the things I'm going to talk about, and I chopped things, I got rid of some things, and I decided I'm going to put all this on video, so that frees up 3 classes. 3 classes where you don't have to sit there and listen to me, which is every student's dream, and 3 classes that you're going to get now for other things, including when you have papers due. You're going to get more class time to work on them and to meet with me individually as you work on them, or to work on projects or other activities. So students have been complaining that the course load is heavy at the end, so I'm really trying to do better with that. Okay, so you'll have to suffer through this video, of course, to hear me lecture about all these things, but at least you know that you're not suffering through 3 classes worth. So my following chat's going to hit on topics that are going to be new to some of you, some of the things, and for others, you're going to sit there and go, yeah, I already know all that. And if you do, that's wonderful. But either way, it's important for me that you leave our class in May with a good foundation of this working knowledge about journalism, especially since, as I said in class, that our decision as a country and how we feel about journalists is going to determine this country's fate. Truly believe that. I feel, in my opinion, that this is important. Anyways, let's get started. First, I want to talk about legacy media. And legacy or traditional media are those media companies that have been around a long, long time. ABC, CBS, NBC, and local newspapers. These forms of media messed up big time. Made a huge mistake when they went from print to online, which I was at the Cincinnati Enquirer when that was happening. Greg Noble was the editor who was fiddling around with the computer, trying to get our stories to upload to the computer. I remember it like it was yesterday. Don't use cliches, by the way. And that'll be on the list eventually. And we all were just like, "What are you doing, Greg?" And he's like, "I think this is the future. I think this is where people are going to read it." And we were thinking, "No, people like to hold the paper. It's comforting." Yeah, Greg was right. Anyway, these media organizations missed the boat when they gave away their product for free online. So when the Enquirer and all these other news organizations went online, it was free. They just were excited that we were getting all these eyeballs reading our stuff.